Hi, welcome to our YouTube channel, Programming with VJ. Hope all are doing great. In this video, we are going to see about Unity editors and also scriptable objects. Before going to the topic, please subscribe the channel. If you have any queries, put in comment section. Great, thanks for subscribing. Let's go into the video. Create a folder, and name it as scripts. In the scripts folder, create a C# script, give the class name as level data. Open the script in Visual Studio. Clear all pre-written codes. Create a class player data. In the player data, create three variables. One is player name, second one of integer type, name it as player type, third one is a boolean and name it as is enemy. Make the player data class as a serializable. We are going to use level data as a scriptable objects. To create a scriptable object, we have to inherit from scriptable object class. To create a scriptable objects in editor, we creating asset menu, with the file name and menu name. File name and menu name will be the default name which we give for the scriptable objects in the editor. Later, if we want, we can change that. Then create a list for player datas and initialize it. Save and switch back to Unity. Create a folder editor. In the editor folder, create a C# script level editor. Make sure the editor script in editor folder, otherwise it may not work. Create another folder and name it as data. Create a scriptable object, by right-clicking in Project tab. Click on Create, and at the top there will be one scriptable object, with the name which we given in the script in the menu name. If we click on that, scriptable object will be created. It will have same name as file name, which we given in the script. Open the level editor script in Visual Studio. Clear all pre-written codes. Add the library Unity editor. Inherit the script from editor class. From editor class, override a function on inspector GUI. In this function, we are going to edit the inspector. Inside that function, you may get this line, base.on inspector GUI. Right now no target component is assigned, so nothing will happen in level data scriptable objects. Switch back to Unity. As expected, there is no change in scriptable objects in the inspector. Now delete the base.on inspector GUI. Create a variable for level data. Level data will be our target script to edit in the inspector. In the onEnable function, assign the level data. The target will be the value from the editor class. Target is the object to be inspected. The target variable will be of type object, so it will throw an error. So typecast target to the target script level data. As our level editor script inherit from editor class, we have to add custom editor to tell which component we are going to inspect. So we have to write custom editor type of our target script. In our case, target script is level data. If you are not adding this line, then the editor script will not work. Save and switch back to Unity. Now you will see the change in the scriptable objects. If you already selected the scriptable object, just select different object and select again the scriptable object. Why? Because inspector will refresh when you do like that. This inspector issue can fixed easily by adding a line called serialize.update at the start of onInspector GUI function. I added this line in the middle of the video, as we didn't code anything in onInspector GUI function. So you will see nothing in the inspector. The list which we declared will be not visible. Now if we write base.onInspector GUI inside the function, you will see the variables which we declared in the level data script in the inspector. Now save and switch back to Unity. Now if we select the scriptable object, you will see the variables in the inspector. Switch back to Visual Studio. Go to Level Data Script. Declare one integer variable. Go to Level Editor Script. To show any variables in the inspector, we have to create a corresponding GUI field. To define an integer field, type editor GUI layout .int field. Inside the int field function, we have to give the corresponding parameters. First one will be the string, whatever string which we are giving, it will appear as the name of the field. Second one is, which variable we want to access from the target script. Here we want to access number of players variable. Save and switch back to Unity. You will see an input field in the inspector. We can create the same field in another way. This time, we will use property field. Inside the property field, we have to give the exact same name of the variable from level data, as first parameter. Second parameter, we have to create a GUI content. Inside the GUI content, give whatever name you want that should appear in the inspector. There is difference in functionality for both types. Later we'll explain the difference of both types in this video, don't skip any part of the video. Save and switch back to Unity. You will see no change in the inspector. Next we can create a button to increment the number of player. To create a button, inside if condition type, GUI layout.button. Inside the button function give the name of the button. Inside the if condition, just increment the number of players. Whatever we write inside the if condition, it will execute when we click on the button. Wait for Unity to compile, you will see the button created. When you click on the button, number of players will be incremented. Now we can add players to scriptable objects by clicking on the button. Create a function add players. In that function, insert players in the list with specific index. Call the function inside the if. Save and switch back to Unity. Now when you click on create button, number of player integer will be incremented. But we can't see the players adding to the list. Why? Because we have not created the player list field in the editor script. But, if we click on the three dot in the inspector window, you can see debug. If you select the debug, you can see the players added. But this is not what we wanted. Now we can create field for player list. We can use the second method now, which we created in earlier in this video to create a field. If you try this you will not see the change in player data list field. We have to add one more line to see the change. Serialized object.apply modified properties. This modify the properties in the target script. Now if you click on the create players button, you can see the players created. Why we used the serialized object.modified properties is, if we change some values in the player list, but if the script refresh, all the changes will be resetted. I will create 3 players, with different values. Now we can create toolbars. Where we can use toolbar. If we have list of item to be edited in the inspector for different types. For example, if we want player's data to be shown while clicking player button in toolbar, other data will be hidden. If we select the particular type, we can show whatever we needed for that type. You can see two buttons at the top, players and levels. If we click players, we can show only players data. If we click level, we can show only level datas. Add the line serialized object.update, as I mentioned in the starting of the video. It will instantly update the inspector, rather than clicking outside and again clicking the scriptable objects. Now add a if, with condition, which item to edit. If edit which item equal to 1, we can show the player fields. Otherwise we can hide it. If we click on Players tab, you can see the player data fields. If we click on Levels tab, you can see the player data will be hidden. And also you can see the inspector update instantly. Now we can add an icon to the Create Players button. Create a variable of texture 2D. Now we should assign some texture to the variable. So what we can do is create a resource folder in Unity. From that folder we can get the texture with the path given. I created an editor folder inside the resource folder. In the editor folder I have a texture with the name 1. In the Create Player button, instead of string, give the texture which we assigned. Save and switch back to Unity. You can see the button created with the icon. For you it might not be created, that will be because in the resource folder you have to attach texture to that folder, with the path mentioned in the script. Button size is large, we can reduce it. Switch back to Visual Studio. Inside the button which we created we can give parameters. Type editor styles.min button mid. The icon will come to center. The button size will be decreased. Switch back to Unity. Hope you gained some idea from this video. Thanks for spending the time for this video. Don't forget to subscribe. Have a great day.